Peter King with NBC here with Alec Ingold, who's a fullback for the Miami Dolphins. And he's written a book called The Seven Crucibles, which is a little bit autobiographical, a lot autobiographical. Alec, thanks a lot for joining me.
Pleasure to be here, man. I'm excited to dive into this book, that's for sure.
There's probably a lot of people in the world, certainly, who would be on the fence about adoption. What would you say to people who are thinking about adopting, who are on the fence, who think that, man, it's going to be way too much responsibility? What would you say to them to maybe push them over and make them pro-adoption?
I think just knowing it's going to be hard, but that's life. Life is hard. Choose your hard, you know? And the amount of benefit that you get for a family, whether you're a kid in foster care that wants to just age out because you think you got it all figured out, or you're a parent that wants to adopt somebody, you have no idea the amount of firsts you get to go through. The first time you walk, the first time you run, the first time you play a sport, the first time you go to school, the first time you get married, the first time you take your driving test, all of those milestones and moments, you get to share a life together. And to be able to go through life with somebody else that is going to be there for you no matter what, I mean, that's why we're here. That's the whole purpose of it. So, yeah, you can't even imagine the amount of benefit and gratitude and the amount of love that you can get from sharing your story and your testimony.
How old were you when you were adopted?
I was adopted at birth, so it's all I've known.
And when you try to explain to people how good your adoptive family was, what do you tell them?
I mean, this is how it's supposed to be, and it's not perfect. It wasn't perfect. We've had to talk through things that are hard, and we've had to learn each other throughout the process, and looking different than your parents is tough. Looking into a mirror for me was tough for a long time, and having somebody that's there and willing to understand and grow with you, that makes all those tough times worth it, right? And you know, Adopt US kids can use my family story and be like, man, this is how it's supposed to go. But then we can turn around and be like, it wasn't easy, and that's the point. And it's not easy, but it's worth it to be able to have a family. And I'm just really, really thankful that mine keep me around, and I can still call my mom and dad anytime and just share life moments with each other.
I'm going to tell you something that is 1/1,000,000th as important as what you went through, and that is, my daughter was a very good field hockey player in her last game in high school. She'd played it for a long time. In her last game in high school, they lost to the eventual state champions in New Jersey. And she came home and she was distraught. For days, she just was under the darkest cloud. And so I remember, you know, you try to think of something to say to your kid to make it not so traumatic. And I said, you know, she had a good friend named Sarah, and Sarah was not involved in activities at school. And I just said to her one day, I said, you know, what is so interesting is that you got so involved, you got close to people on this team, and they are like your sisters now. You know, you will know them forever, and you'll be friends with them forever. And this isn't anything anti-Sarah, but Sarah doesn't have that part. So Sarah's not in mourning right now. But you chose something that you knew that there was a chance at the end of it you were going to be heartbroken. But I said, that really is life, isn't it? You want to feel, you know, and it just, you talking about the rewards for parents, there must be some times when your parents are saying, oh my God, what did we do? And there must be some times where you said, oh man, how did I get these people? But ultimately, it's rewarding for both sides.
Yeah, and I think that story about the field hockey is really cool because if you have the courage to go all in with a group of people, like truly try your hardest and try your best and give it everything you have to do something special together, that's high risk, high reward. Like that's high risk poker, right? That you're playing. And for you to fully embrace that and that process, and I think you have a lot of coaches and players that talk about that now, it's the process over the results. The result stinks, and it was hard, and it wasn't what anybody wanted. But the benefit of the lifelong friendships, the moments, the daily deposits that people put into each other, the better person you are because of going all in and trying your hardest and having that courage.
Plus, you know, you don't win everything you go into. I mean, a lot of it is life is failure. and dealing with failure and learning to live with failure. Let's talk about sort of the basis for this book. In November of 2021, you're on the Raiders. You tear your ACL. Your life is full of uncertainty, professional and personal at that point. Tell me how that became the inspiration for this book.
You can't control the circumstances life throws at you. I feel like that's been an underlying theme of this entire conversation, right? And I'm at the mountaintop of my career. From an undrafted guy, year 3 in the NFL, Pro Bowl alternate, team captain, NFL Man of the Year nominee, and in one play, a snap of a fingers, it all goes away. And
tell me about the play.
We're on a special teams play. I'm a special teams captain. We're covering a punt against the Chiefs, and I get hemmed up at the line of scrimmage a little bit, so I try and make something happen. I plant on my right foot to go left, and my knee buckles. Returner ends up making a huge play until our punter tackles him and gets the ball back. Huge play for our team, right, against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, and I'm on the ground in pain. And it's like...
Did you know?
I knew. And that pain, the physical pain, wasn't why I was crying on a cart off the field. It was the emotional uncertainty of, man, we have an interim head coach, and I gave everything I had to this organization, and now I can't walk, and now I'm going to have to go through this 9-month process, and all of these worries start just bubbling up. These fears, these uncertainties start bubbling up because, once again, that's life. And I started to realize and kind of reflect that I kind of know the answer to this test already. I kind of know what I'm supposed to be doing, whether it's coaches, players, other people I've listened to, parents. They've given me the answer and the wisdom to how to respond. You know, you can't control what happens to you. You can control your response to it. And so I just really wanted to write it out while I was going through it. This is exactly how I'm going to come back from my ACL before it happens, so that by the time we're sitting here, there's been some sort of success. And I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like, but I know it's going to happen. And to have that conviction and that decision internally to go through this, that's why the book is written. I feel like that's for other people with whatever you're going through in life, to be able to have that conviction and courage to just try your best and be the best version of you, and that's going to be good enough.
How did you get to Miami?
On an airplane. No, it was crazy. Going through free agency, a whole new coaching staff, whole new front office with the Raiders. Didn't really have a former relationship with them, and they let me know that they weren't going to bring me back. So having an ACL rehab and knowing that you're not going to be there anymore was tough. And then free agency starts, and we're about a few hours into it, and I get a phone call from Chris Greer saying, we want you to be a Dolphin. So I couldn't.
Were you shocked?
I was shocked. And
why? Did you think you were going to be hanging out there for months because of your ACL?
Yeah, I mean, that was a real possibility. He was never playing football again. And to have a team, an organization with a new head coach that buys into adversity as opportunity, that's literally the first thing he said in his first team meeting. And I'm like, this is my life. Like, I've already written this down in the book. It's wild, to the alignment of head coach, general manager, organization, and a fullback coming in just willing to serve everybody that's around. It was a really cool moment. There was a lot of full circle moments this year with the Dolphins. And yeah, it's been a blast to be down there in South Florida.
Could you have imagined that almost exactly 1 year after your injury, you were running onto the field in Santa Clara, California, in a huge game against the 49ers, and you are a big part of the game plan, and not just what you would normally be as a fullback. You're in there as a pass catcher. And we were talking about it before. I said there's a point where you look up and you say, oh my God, Alec Ingold's got the most catches and the most targets of anybody. And I'm looking and I said, they haven't been throwing to you much all year. So that leads to the question about your head coach and sort of what maybe makes him a little different and why. And I take it you're not surprised what happened at San Francisco, where you get 3 targets really quick in this game.
No, that game was crazy, and I don't really think that's ever a good thing when the fullback is leading the stat sheet. So maybe when we start winning those big games and we start putting things together, then we can get that all aspect going. But Coach McDaniels is himself, and that's what I think guys resonate with. He's not trying to be anybody he's not, and I think that's really cool. He plays to his strengths, he's aware of his weaknesses, and he gives us his best version of himself every single day. And that's That's what players like to rally around as a leader of men. And then the X's and O's and drawing up plays for your playmakers. That's a whole nother beast that he can bring to the table. So, yeah, it's been a massive blessing being able to be in the system, to be able to grow with this guy and be a part of that Dolphin organization.
Give me your 30-second spiel about why people should buy and read the Seven Crucibles.
Because life is hard. And if this book can give you an ounce of courage to get up and try your best one day, then it's worth it. And to be able to just take a little step. It doesn't matter what size step. It doesn't matter where you're headed, but just take that step. I think that's what this book can do for you. It'll give you some answers. It'll give you some good stories. And it's what I felt on my heart that I needed to say going through some of the toughest times in my life so that hopefully other people don't have to go through it themselves.
Alec Ingold, good luck both in the literary community and in the football community. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I need all the luck I can get.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.